Hello and welcome to Energiebewegung interviews, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things and important things. Today, it's my privilege to interview Vlad Dimancea and Usui Karuna Shambhala and Gendai Reiki teacher and author of the website Reiki Scoop. Vlad, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I would like to thank you very much for having me here, and I am honored.
As am I. Well, Vlad, let's start by letting the viewers and listeners know a bit about your background. You're from Romania.
That's correct. I'm from Romania, Bucharest, born and raised. And what can I tell you? It's been through many ups and downs, you know, Romania and also Bucharest. But for some reason, in Romania in general, we are quite interested in these kind of, you know, spiritual practices, from meditation, Reiki, yoga, Qigong even. We have a lot of teachers on many fields like such. I'm not exactly sure how and why, but it happened. I'm sure we're not the only city or even the country. There are many other countries that are interested, but I'm just saying that it's not like the United States, which is huge. Yeah, you have like hundreds of millions, and here we have just like 15, 18 million, and still like I would say a quarter maybe of the population is like quite interested in this kind of things, or at least has heard about this kind of practices. So I am grateful for being born here, actually. Yeah.
And who were the masters that you learned Reiki from?
Well, I learned from, I would say, 4 Reiki masters, teachers. I call them both teachers and masters. And well, the first one, which is quite known here in Bucharest and Romania, is called, well, I don't know if the name will have any, you know, importance right now, because it's a kind of a Romanian name. It's a Dragoș and Argeșanu. He's quite known, a bit controversial character sometimes, but a great Reiki teacher. And after that, I went to study with one of his, well, at that time he was a student, but now he became a grandmaster as well. His name was Rizvan, and I owe him a lot because of the time he spent with me, teaching me in details certain things, and that he's one of the reasons why I managed to get into detail in Reiki, in more detail in Reiki. And then I studied again the Karuna and Shambhala a little bit with another Reiki teacher, and the names, I don't think they will matter right now. And then another teacher taught me a little bit more about Gendai, which I already had attunements, but I didn't go to many courses. I was not exactly, you know, I was not really aware of what Gendai has to offer until I went to this teacher that specifically teaches Gendai Reiki, and he's a student of Hiroshi Doi. And that was great because I found out great many things, more authentic things about Reiki, and I learned Reiki from a more traditional perspective. So I got modern and I got the traditional ways of seeing things, and I'm trying my best to blend them in a harmonious way as much as I can from my own perspective, because we all have our own experience and perspective.
For our viewers and listeners, my background in Reiki comes from the Shingon Temple in Honolulu. I was introduced and initiated into a traditional healing line of Reiki founded by Usui Sensei, and that was shared with Hayashi Sensei, and then to Takata Sensei, who I have a lot of respect for her as a woman in a very patriarchal man's world, in which Japan was and in many ways still is. She was very persistent and got her training and initiation and brought that to the United States, where she initiated 22 Reiki masters. Yeah. And my instructor, Chris Sifu, Christopher Matsuo received initiation from 6 of her masters in her line. And Sifu Matsuo is and was always about sharing. So he invited one of his other Reiki instructors, Reiki masters, to visit us, and we got to learn the martial art lineage of Reiki direct from Japan, which contained a more comprehensive understanding of Reiki and its Tibetan roots. Also founded by Usui Sensei, was transmitted to the Hirai family, who initiated Hidetoshi Mitsuoka Sensei, who then initiated my instructor, Sifu Matsuo. And I also received a direct Reiki transmission from Sifu Mitsuoka, Mitsuoka Sensei, excuse me. And these 3rd and 4th generation attunements greatly expanded my understanding and awareness of the healing approach. Now, Vlad, let's get back to talking about Reiki today. With the world in need of healing energies and higher vibrations, how do you view and see Reiki and its essence?
At its essence, well, first of all, the first thing that I would have to say is that, well, regardless of the school you were taught, regardless, because I had quite a few, comments on my posts, and no, I view this like this, and I view this way, and maybe you're not right, and maybe you're not right. So regardless of your attunement, lineage, or school, Reiki works. That's it. Reiki works, first of all. So it doesn't matter if you're attuned in, I don't know, by which person that, it doesn't have a proper background, or they didn't practice that much, or any kind of thing, doesn't matter. Reiki works. That's the point. And that's the most important thing, because you can use Reiki. And in my perspective, the essence of Reiki is that beyond its ability to, of course, relax, to help you relax, help you heal your mental state, cleanse your emotional body, help improve your physical well-being. In my perspective, beyond that, I think Reiki is catalyst for spiritual growth. I think it's a method that propels you, if you allow it and if you wish to see it and allow yourself to go that way. It's a method that propels you towards a spiritual growth. And what I mean by that is it helps you bring a different awareness towards yourself and towards your relationship with the world around you. And I don't mean this relationship like necessary or romantic relationships. I mean every relationship you have with family, friends, close ones, acquaintances, and romantics. Why not? It helps you visualize yourself better, understand your qualities and flows. Of course, this is done in time. You understand the other people's flaws and qualities without judging them, and you are able to see how you are able to see your position in the world according to how you see others, meaning that whatever you see in the others is a reflection, at least to some extent, of yourself. So no person that you meet in your life is random. I don't believe in randomness that much. I think that everything has at least a little bit tiny of purpose. So whoever you meet, whatever activity you partake, or whatever job you take, or whatever things that you choose to do in your life, resonate with you, with your qualities, imbalances, strengths, mental awareness, vibration. And Reiki can help you, if you use it the right way, constantly, at least in the beginning of your journey, to cleanse those residual things that keep you from understanding this idea. And when you understand this idea, your awareness grows, your vibration grows, and you understand your position in the world. Okay, I have to do this. You're not, there was a teacher, I studied some course for chakras. He offered quite a bit of information. He said, it's not special to be special, because everybody is special in their own way. So you will, I think through Reiki, you also get this awareness that, okay, you are special in your own way. You are unique. You are unique. I'm unique. Everybody has their own unique features, traits, characteristics. but everybody special in their own way, and everybody brings a contribution to the world. And by doing Reiki on yourself first and helping others, either with therapy, attunements, information, courses, any kind of help, this in turn helps the vibration of the earth. I think that's my opinion at least. You help the world slowly. It's a very slow process, unfortunately, but surely grow from this perspective so that in the end, everything will become a better place. I know there are things happening in the world right now that are not making the world such a beautiful place. I'm very aware of that. But still, people like you, me, and others are working a little bit, bit by bit, to help enhance the vibration and the well-being of everybody in a way. Because when you practice Reiki, when you practice on others, when you do attunements, this has an echo both in the physical and also in the spiritual world. So that's how I perceive the essence of Reiki. It's just my perspective.
Thank you for that perspective. While we're on the subject of the essence of Reiki, I'd like to add a comment and observation. I value the transmissions I was able to get in the Shingon Temple. At the same time, it's come to my awareness that the Reiki symbols, the symbol is just something visual for us to grab a hold of. They have their own energies and their own personalities, really. And without any disrespect, I found them to be kind of like friendly house pets. When you call, they will come. And like a house pet, it makes you feel good and you feel better. And they have, but above and beyond a house pet, they have a purpose to help mankind evolve. But I've observed in classes, even without the transmission, when you call that energy that wants to help you evolve, it comes. It comes. How do you use Reiki personally in your day, other than treating and sharing it with others? How do you use it?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned this with calling upon the energy, because I think I want to make a connection here. I think that's the point in which a Reiki teacher, master, that's the point they should reach. Meaning that you're not necessarily relying, oh, I have to do this symbol perfectly now, even if I have 10 years of experience. Of course you can. But the idea is to not set them aside, but integrate their energy. And integrate the energy of Reiki itself so you can call upon that energy. If you want to call the energy of Chokurei, let's say, the first symbol in Reiki, yeah, and you want to connect to the manifestation of which that symbol brings, the manifestation of the universal life force energy that Chokurei brings, you can connect with it. You don't need to do the symbol after some time of experience with Reiki. You can just call upon the energy of the symbol, and it comes to you. So the way I practice Reiki lately is more, as you mentioned, calling upon that energy. Of course, I use the symbol sometimes when I go to beginner's class. I have a friend that does beginner's class, and I just like to join sometimes. It's very relaxing. And it helps me, it's always good to find information from the first levels of Reiki. You never know what maybe something new skipped and you didn't learn about it. So then, yeah, I do the symbols. I don't try to do like, I call upon the energies, and I do the symbols like everybody else. And it's a great refresh. But in general, when I practice on myself, I call upon that energy. I try to visualize how the light flows from the top of the head. And I'm not trying to involve the chakras just now. I'm just trying to use the more traditional way, let's say, approach. Just visualize the light as it flows and goes through my body and through the feet all the way to the ground and cleanses me. If I have the intuition, my intuition tells me, just activate the symbols on the chakras or the body, on the whole body, or yeah, sure, I will do that. The thing is, when I have time, and most of the time I don't have that much time to practice Reiki personally, but when I go to my friend's course at the beginning, at least there I can relax and I put my palms the traditional way, the simple way, on the body, on the Reiki hand positions. And of course, it's amazing. I think if I would have a list of things favorite in my life, Reiki would be the first, and I'm not exaggerating. That's the first one, top on my list. And that's the way, I just try to feel and connect to the energy itself. because sometimes we lack the time. We don't have an hour to spend. Sometimes people have families, they have kids, they have jobs, and they have other activities that have to engage in. And I'm trying to explain to them how important the practice, the basic practice is, especially in the beginning, especially in the 21 days. But you cannot enforce this, and you should, nobody should. You just recommend it, and look, you really need to practice. But after some time, you will see that if you connect to that energy, if you pass those 21 days, if you pass a certain amount of time practicing Reiki, you can just visualize and call upon it and feel it. If you don't have time, of course, always recommend the traditional way and traditional methods of placing your hands, using Reiki the simple way. Again, time is of essence sometimes. So yeah, what can you do?
Thank you for that sharing. I'd like to share that I use Reiki every morning. I do a little morning ritual myself where I combined it with a form of timeline therapy where I project Reiki into my future, to my future self, and to the people that are in my timeline, even people I haven't met yet. So I flow the energy and send the Reiki into my future. That's how I use it. That's one way. I also have a Trust and Transform program where
Yes.
I share the Reiki at the higher levels for the students to follow in that kind of an example to help program send beneficial energy into their future. As many of us, we're human. And if you're thinking about the future, you're projecting into it anyway. So by using a nice high vibration energy, Chokure, Seiheki, Honshoze Shonen, that wants to help you evolve and projecting that into the future, you just get to find out how beautiful your life can be when you project positivity into your future. Now, that's how I use it personally. And tell me, Vlad, as the symbols, Reiki symbols are all over the internet and have long been made public, do you see this as a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, that's a controversial topic, isn't it? I wanted to ask you actually, coming back to the Trust and Transform program, I was looking on your website and I was wondering at what level do you start teaching this program? I was curious at which level of Reiki you start teaching it or presenting it.
Well, I've got 4 levels, and in the first level, we're basically going through. I lived in Hawaii 17 years, and part of that time I spent living with a Hawaiian family, and I was adopted into their family as an adult, and got to learn Ho'oponopono. And so we use a form of that, which I call energetic relationship healing. So the first level is just getting clear, giving forgiveness and having forgiveness received. Then the Reiki comes in about the 3rd level. So first we kind of getting our house cleaned up. Then we're looking at how we're projecting out. And by the 3rd level, when you're projecting out, then we bring in the nice high energies to send into the world and into others. So it'd be about the 3rd out of 4th levels is when I start with the Reiki.
Because some practitioners, teachers consider the level 3 as a whole, the master level, and when some other teachers in other schools present the level 3 split in 2, meaning 3A and 3B.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. When I'm teaching my level 3, it's not a Reiki course. We use Reiki in the course, but it doesn't come in until the 3rd level. At that time, the students will get very basic Usui Reiki introduced to the basic Usui Reiki symbols. So
I understand.
That's how I'm using it in my Trust and Transform program. I hope that clears up.
Yeah, because I was curious about this and I wanted to find out more about more information about this method. And well, what can I tell you? Coming back to the concept of the idea of placing the symbols publicly, I do present them publicly, and I was 95% of everybody who saw or noticed this was happy with this, but there was about 5, maybe 6% of people who were not so happy, and I understand that. I perfectly understand that there is a sacredness, a sacred value that needs to be respected. Personally, I do respect it, and I do consider that I respect it. I have not presented at any time the Reiki symbols in a, I don't know, bad way, bad image, bad light. I never had this intention. On the contrary, I wanted to present them with elements that you cannot find in every place, or if you find those elements, that knowledge, you have to bring like so many books and so many courses and participate in so many Reiki seminars together that it takes you a long, long time. And I wanted, from my experience, to bring all that experience and information as much as I have and place it in one place for on the website, on an article, for people to access it, so that every practitioner, has, oh, I didn't know that. And many students came to me, Vlad, I didn't know that, I didn't know that. And I'm so grateful that I can offer and share something, contribute to this, well, community or people who practice Reiki, because it's their right to know. And of course, the question that why should, if anybody who is not interested in Reiki reads about or is not attuned in Reiki, reads about your symbols, I don't think anything will happen if they read. They will know that there is a practice. They will find out a few information, and maybe they will be stimulated to start their own practice. Now, there's also the question, there was a person who told me, yes, but I know somebody who is extremely sensitive, extremely empathic to any kind of spiritual energy, symbols, knowledge, and they start shivering and crying. And I said, look, first of all, I don't think there's so many people out there that have this, let's call it an imbalance. And if they have it, it's not related necessarily to reading a Reiki article. It's related to something personal that needs to be healed.
Yeah.
And even more so, the more the reason to start a practice such as Reiki, to help them heal and balance their emotional side. So I take upon myself the responsibility of placing the symbols publicly. And I don't in any way violate the sacred value. Sacred doesn't mean secret. I think that there was a secret. There was a secret. Yeah, there was. I honestly have this quote from Christopher Penza, who was. I have his book about Reiki, and I think it's one of the best Reiki books out there, in my opinion. And he was the first time I read it a long time ago, and I saw the quote: "Secret doesn't mean sacred doesn't mean secret." There was a time when Reiki and the symbols had to be secret because, well, this was, if I'm not mistaken, after the Second World War, when Hawayo Takata, realized that not Reiki is not for everybody. People are, maybe laughing at this, or they are not taking it seriously. That's why she had to put higher prices. People were not appreciating the value, and she said, from what I understand, you know what? I'm going to keep this a secret only for the community, and the symbols have to be a secret and have a huge sacred value. And even so, if you think about it, first of all, Reiki is not a religion. Everybody who practices Reiki knows that. However, religion is held in a even more sacred place. And you can see the spiritual symbols from religions, the cross from Christianity, the wheel from Buddhism, the Om symbol from Hinduism, and many others. You can see them all over the place. You can see them on books, you can see them on internet, even on t-shirts. How are you respecting the sacred value if you place the cross on your t-shirt? Somebody might ask. As long as you have your own sacred part in this kind of practice of religion, I think that's what matters. So without comparing any kind of Reiki practice with any kind of practice from any religion, I'm just saying that the symbols have a similar sacred value, which depends on the practitioner to keep it that way. And I present the symbols and keep their sacred value intact, and even offer it more sacred value through the presentation and information that I offer. Now, what can I tell you now? Some people will still not agree with me, and I respect that. Not everybody has to agree. Not everybody has their own school and teachings and opinions, and I do respect that. I'm just saying it's another perspective. That's all of seeing things.
I appreciate the perspective, and I appreciate the detail that you put into your website. That I found a lot of little nuggets that I was not aware of that helped me out. I'd also like to point out that when Hira Usui Sensei went up to the mountain and did his 21-day fast, he was at a Mikyo temple, and he had no one to give him the transmission. And when he got the Reiki energies introduced themselves to him, he came back and he shared them and in print, and that was the way they were first introduced to the world. He was sharing them rather openly with the people that were receiving the benefits of their healing energies. So that's kind of how the whole thing started, was a free sharing with interested, like-minded people.
And yeah, sorry to interrupt. The same, if you look at the Buddhist idea, you know, there's the story of Siddhartha, of course, the Buddha, you know, he went from his palace, from his beautiful life and, you know, expensive lifestyle, and he became he became to fast a lot and have only a few people around him. And he took this extreme path in which there was no food, no water, just praying. And he became so skinny and became ill and sick. And he was like, this is not the right way. I'm doing something wrong. And then he found the middle path, the golden path, in which he was not doing excess in anything, but he was sharing. And that's the way, in a way, I think, in my opinion, Buddhism was so well expanded because he wanted to reach so many other people who had no idea about this spiritual practice, religion, however you wish to call it. And I think the expansion, as you mentioned, like Nikolaos, with expansion of information and knowledge, makes people aware of the practice, which in turn, as I mentioned before, helps this small planet, this blue marble, evolve from a spiritual perspective, slowly but surely.
Yeah. It lets the people who are ready to evolve know that there's energies willing to help them do so.
Exactly.
Now, taking the cue from Usui Sensei, who got his transmissions direct from the energies, very few of us are going to go do a 21-day fast and sit outside and wait for the energies to find us as he did. What's your view on distance transmissions?
First of all, I like the way, I think it's the best way I have ever seen of naming an attunement. You mean attunements, right? More, you mean the initiations more than the therapy itself.
Correct. Correct. That's what I'm talking about. A online teacher doing the transmissions through a video like this.
Transmission is the best word I have seen so far, I have heard so far, because it's actually a transmission. You are a channel, first of all. You are not giving something from yourself. You are a channel that provides a flow so that the other person in front of you can also benefit from the same flow as you have, like, at least to some extent. And it all depends on that person to practice. Well, I have to be honest. In the beginning, I wasn't a big fan of distance attunements, transmissions, as you wish to call them. I wasn't a big fan because there are a few elements that I've noticed when I was attuned and when I attuned others that I found them a bit difficult to, not impossible, but I was wondering, how can this take place at a distance, this attunement, not the therapy, not distance healing. It's a bit different. So the attunement, the transmission, how can it take place considering that there are a few physical elements, like the ceiling you have at the attunement in the back of the head, you know, there are a few tricks here and there, and that we cannot possibly do them at a distance. But then I realized that the attunement or the transmission, it's not done in the physical realm. It's done in the energetic and the spiritual realm. The physical benefits from this attunement or transmission benefits from this energy flow, from this breath of energy of light, but that takes place in the energetic and spiritual levels, realms. Therefore, I was wondering, and I was talking to my teacher, one of my teachers as well, and friends who are practicing Reiki. They said, no, we do this. During the pandemic, there was a lot of distance attunements taking place. I said, okay, how you do it? Well, do you know how you send energy in distance? Yeah, sure. Chokure, Sehiki, Honsha Shonen, maybe a daikomyo. I said, look, Honsha Shonen, and this got me thinking, is a super complex. It's probably the most complex symbol, in my opinion, from all Reiki. You can, if the person agrees and you schedule an attunement, a date, of course, and it's a very, very clear consent regarding this attunement, you can ask the person sitting gasho, bring the energy fields and the energy structure and essence of that person within your chair, visualize their shape. It's good to have a picture, at least to have an idea of who you are tuning, yeah, and have that shape, visualize the shape of the energy fields, and you do the attunement. And you, because whenever you place the hand in the attunement above the head or here, you're actually working not so much with the physical hands, but with that person's energetic field and energetic hands. The way you send energy, you are using your energetic hands. The way you practice Reiki, you're using your energetic hands. You're not using your so much of physical hands, because everything has an energy print behind it. So then I realized, all right, let me do this. And it worked. And it works. You can do this. Now, there's only maybe one, let's say, it's not a problem, it's just a different thing. Most of the times when you do a distance attunement or distance transmission, that attunement will take place for certain people in a gradual way. It will not be like a boom of energy so fast. It will like integrate slowly during the day or during 2 or 3 days perhaps, and they will start feeling like tingling sensations or the light flow or some changes in their body. Of course, they can practice during this time, even if it comes gradually, it comes in their own rhythm. When you do a physical attunement, I notice that it's a bit faster, everything comes a bit more faster somehow. Maybe it's just my perception, I'm not sure, but this is what, from my experience, what happened with a number of my students.
That's a very good insight. Thank you for sharing. And speaking of students, Vlad, what tips do you have for new Reiki practitioners who are just getting started with using the energies of Reiki?
New practitioners, well, practice.
Very good.
I try to relate this to my experience in a way. Of course, everybody has their own experiences, but I was struggling at first. Oh, I have to feel the energy. Let's see. Anything happens? Maybe, maybe not. No, just relax. Even if you don't feel the energy flow in the beginning, if you are a beginner, don't worry. Reiki works. Exactly what I mentioned before. Reiki works anyway. At one point, if you practice long enough, maybe after a week, maybe after 2 weeks, maybe after a year, depends on each person's level of sensitivity. And I do have an article with that because it's an important topic. According to your level of sensitivity, you will feel at one point the energy flow. Some people feel it from the moment of their attunements. They even have this awakening, like, oh my God, what's going on? I understand things already differently. Some people are like, nah, I didn't feel anything. And I'm not feeling anything for a week or so. Don't worry. At one point, if you practice, you're going to feel, even if you don't feel so fast, anything, any flow of energy, you will feel the changes. You will see that you perceive the changes in your life. You will see how your vibration changes slowly but surely, how everything changes gradually changes in your life. So the tip would be practice. Keep on the practice. Don't get distracted or let down by the fact that you may not feel the energy in the first place. And don't get overwhelmed. Try not to be overwhelmed if you are extra sensitive and you feel too much energy. you can take a break. You don't need to do it. If you're extra sensitive, extra empathic, you don't need to do it every day. Okay, take a break. Take today I'm doing Reiki, tomorrow. The day after I'm doing again Reiki. Go have a walk in the park. Go have fun with friends if you are
Connect with
extra
nature.
sensitive. So you can spread that energy, because there are people who are super sensitive. They can feel everything from from every person. Reiki will be extremely useful for them, because Reiki will balance that sensitivity level, as well as balance the ones who are non-sensitive. And if you're in the middle, well, you will have to get your own rhythm, because you will see that if you do it every day, you will feel amazing, it will help you, and it's just the majority of people are somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
There are more and more empaths these days, I can see from what I've noticed. But if you are in the middle, just practice. The same for the rest. I would add, for the extra sensitive, just take a break if it feels too much. And for the non-sensitive, don't be let down. Don't let yourself down because you don't feel the energy. Just go on, go forward and practice. Use the symbols. Use whatever you have. Just practice and relax. Don't expect something. Just let it flow.
On that note, I'd like to add one of the things Sifu Matsuo shared with us was calling the energy down in front of you, and actually just treat that like it's a giant ball of energy. Let's say chokure. So you project it, you call it. I'm calling the energy of chokure to be before me now. And then you just, like you're opening a curtain, and step into that sphere of energy, of chokure energy, and just let it talk directly to you when you're getting started. And it will help you get your energy in sync with the energy with that particular Reiki energy. We're talking about chokure now. And as you're doing your work, it helps that energy flow through you a lot easier after you've got this kind of like intimate, you're just literally in the energy of chokure, and you're breathing it in and letting it talk to your subconscious, your unconscious, and your conscious mind. And for people just starting out, I found that this is a really nice way to get, if you will, intimately familiar with the Reiki energies. And again, they're here to help us evolve. And the easier we make it for them to do their work, the more effective they can be. Now, which brings us, Vlad, I was wondering, is there a Reiki meditation that you can share with us today?
I can actually present a few steps to something extremely simple and efficient. And just a second, you mentioned, like, what you mentioned is like entering the energy of the symbol, what you previously explained, because that's a great way. Actually, there's this method from a grandmaster, Usui grandmaster system, that you make a daikoumyo in front of you and you enter its energy, and that expands and cleanses your energy fields, and exactly as you mentioned, connects you to the high vibration of this master symbol. And I think, you know what, you don't need to be attuned to grandmaster. You don't even need to be a master. You can be level 2 Reiki, and you can place a chokure and the seiheki in front of you. Just activate them like a large dimension and enter them and enter the energy. This is like sort of a meditation in motion, sort of. But on the other hand, you can do a simple meditation without symbols, without complicated methods. And I think I presented it before. You just, you can just put some nice music, light up an incense stick or a candle, hold your palms on your lap facing upward. Your feet need to be like solid, like, yeah, you put them on your lap, and you place your feet parallel to the ground, like they are, stable, parallel to the ground. So you have the energy flow, the perfect energy flow, so that every residual energy flows to the ground. And you just close your eyes and visualize as a beam of pure light, white light, enters the crown of your head and slowly descends, slowly descends through your head, to your brain, and cleanses all those negative thoughts, patterns, everything that's residual, that everything that's out of place, that doesn't belong to you. Because most of the time, we expose ourselves to things that don't belong to us. We are exposed to the media, the news, everything. We are bombarded with these things, and they're not ours. They're just, we connect to those, but they are not beneficial all the time for us. So just visualize the beam of light going slowly through your body in your own rhythm. At one point, it reaches your abdomen and it goes all the way down to your feet and goes below your feet all the way to the center of the earth. Of course, I'm just presenting it fast now. These are just the steps. You can do it. It can take 10 minutes. It can take 1 hour. It can take you 3 hours. It depends on your own rhythm. So just visualize that beam of light. You stay straight on the chair. You can stay, usually it's better to stay on a, symbolically speaking, upright on a chair, because it symbolizes the flow of energy, the straight flow of energy. If you do this where you're laying down, you're going to fall asleep most likely. So it's not bad, not bad. But if you really have other things to do in that day, you know, you have to do a 10-15 minutes meditation in the morning or middle of the day, if somehow you find the time, just visualize the flow of energy as you keep your eyes closed. And it cleanses everything, all the organs, your lungs, your soul, your heart, your stomach, your liver, everything, and goes all the way down. And of course, this is also cleansing of the chakras. And I didn't mention the chakras because I know they're not exactly part of the Reiki tradition. However, they do exist. In my opinion, at least they do exist, and Reiki works wonders with them, the chakras. So the two elements can very well blend together. So this is just a simple thing. You visualize the beam of light cleansing everything, and it cleanses your physical body, it cleanses your energetic body, and all those residual energies that are not important, are not yours, and the negative ones, and also lifts up your spiritual body and your spiritual awareness. If you do this every day, you don't even need to do, okay, I'm not going to say that you don't need to do your Reiki treatment, but this greatly enhances your lifestyle and your Reiki practice. It just takes, you can take, for some people it takes 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe more, but it's extremely useful.
And thanks for sharing. That felt really good. Now, have you been able to hold in-person classes in Romania?
What I did is I prefer to focus on one at a time. So I prefer to have scheduled appointments with people who wish to be attuned or reattuned or have higher level attunements. And I prefer to spend time only with them individually. And I did have quite a few. So the reason I'm doing this is because, well, I did have the time to do it. So, and I prefer to explain to each person individually because I think the information is received better.
Mm-hmm.
It's integrated better. Again, that's just my opinion. When I started Reiki long time ago, I think it was 2004 something. I think it was 2004. There was a huge class. So I don't know, 80 people or something. And I was, what's going on here? I only heard about Reiki. And I went to my teacher and I said, what's going on here? Why are so many people? Then I went to a class with 5 people. And then I went to a class with 10. And then I went to a class with 20. And I realized how difficult it is to present all the information and explain everything about the symbols and explain all the techniques. And people were so confused when leaving those classes. Of course, it's the duty of the teacher to better explain things, but still, it's difficult because everybody comes with questions. Everybody has their own way of approaching things and understanding, their own rhythm of understanding things. And by individually taking them one by one, I can adapt to their own rhythm and their own vibration, explain things to them in their own pace, at their own pace, and then they understand understand much better this way. Of course, it takes a lot of time. That's the only catch here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have time to schedule. And if you want, they want courses, I explain, I stay like 5-6 hours with them, explain everything. And instead of spending 3 days with 20 people, you spend 4-5-6 hours with one person, but that person will know Reiki, will know about Reiki a lot more than, I think, in my perspective at least, than 20 people that are, wait a second, oh, I have too many questions. I didn't understand this. And it depends. It depends on each person, each teacher, how they want to, schedule their time. It just works for me better. I will see in the future, maybe if I will try to have more at once, more people at once. You can, when you are individually explaining to someone, it's a bit more friendly, it has this friendly atmosphere, and you can make a joke and you can have fun, and it's not so much, you're not so much as a professor in that moment. You're acting more like a friend, like an acquaintance that is really pleasant, to explain something to them. And they feel this vibration, and it sticks, the information sticks to them easier. That's just the way I perceive things, yeah.
Now, about that class back in 2004 with 80 people, and was that like one of the first Reiki classes in Romania?
No, that was not among the first. I think Reiki came to Romania around 93, 94, 1994, something like that. And after the fall of communism, not only Reiki, but martial arts, yoga, again, meditation techniques, Reiki. I don't know all the therapies that were, Qigong and Tai
Chinese
Chi.
medicine.
Exactly. There's a person here that his father was, I think, an ambassador for China, and he was so interested. He's now old, he was so interested in learning Qigong and the meditations and Tai Chi and all that spectrum from Qigong, and he's a great teacher, and he doesn't even have high prices. He's really cheap, and you can do those meditations, and I did a few classes, and he's amazing. And then I went to Reiki, and people were so passionate about this. So it really stuck to Romania, these kind of things after the 90s really came, and Reiki was one of them, and it's extremely popular. And that's why I took it upon myself to bring all that experience that I have and the information and teach others from English-speaking countries, such as the United States or England or Australia, because for some reason they either don't have the time, or the teachers don't have the time, or the dedication to present so much information, and perhaps they don't have access to this information. And for some reason, being so passionate, Romanians being so passionate about these spiritual practices, we gathered information from United States, from European countries, from Slavic countries, which are also passionate, well, more or less passionate about this kind of esoteric practices or spiritual practices, however you wish to call them. And I gathered all that, and I said, you know what, I wish this is the way I would like to, at least to start helping out, presenting Reiki to the world differently than my teachers did. My teachers have, these offices, and people come to them, they attune them, they do courses, they do therapy, they share their problems, the patients or students share their problems, and maybe the teacher can help. I said, okay, I want something that really helps me develop myself and also help people as much as possible, but also have some free time for myself, because, everybody needs their own personal life, because these people, the teachers, they had very little personal life, and they were like so busy and tired. And I said, okay, this is not exactly, I don't want to be selfish, but I need also my time, and have my personal time. Everybody needs that. So I wanted to present things a little bit different. And that's how Reiki Scoop started, with the help of one of my best friends, Peter. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, I'm glad you and Peter got together I find that a very important online source. And I'm grateful that you were able to find a technician to help you get that where we can find it.
Yeah.
Now, Vlad, I see that our time is just about up. Can you tell me about your online courses?
Well, I do have on my page in the products area, I do have for now a couple of courses. I have the Usui Reiki level 1 and level 2. That's the flagship course for now. The thing is, I've placed so much time and so much information and so much editing in that course, which has both video and written content. And I really am proud of it that I can share it. And that's just for levels 1 and 2. It doesn't have the level 3 because I think that level 3 needs a separate course. There's a lot of information there, and it's considered a master level, and I think it needs to be separate from levels 1 and 2. And I will offer to people who are interested, after we chat and tell me, maybe I can find some people that are interested in also having an attunement. I also offer a level 1 and 2 Usui Reiki attunement integrating within the core, the price of this course. And especially, again, if they have certain imbalances in their life and they want to share it, they can contact me. I have my email on the website. And the second course is regarding the symbols. It's a symbols guide of not only, it's mostly Reiki symbols from the systems I am attuned in and from systems that I'm not attuned in, but I know that other people are attuned and they may want to have even more information that I found from my teachers, from my research. And it also contains symbols from other spiritual practices that can be blended within your Reiki practice. I have tried it. They work. And you can print them, you can meditate on them, you can integrate them in your Reiki practice. You can do so much with them. And I have more than 60 symbols there. So it's a great course. You have like all those like lines. This symbol helps with this and that. This symbol helps with this and that. You can combine this symbol with this symbol. You can do this sequence of symbols and achieve something, or connect to an energy, or use that energy for your purpose, or sending light to your future, for example, as you mentioned. How do you do that? Well, you do like this. So it's quite comprehensive. And I'm working on a chakra course for some time. I haven't managed to finish it. It's just another approach on chakras that I really wanted to share. It's a different perspective on the chakras. And well, I'm looking forward on building a level 3 Usui course and Shambhala Reiki course. It's a controversial system, but it's my favorite system. And I'm looking forward on making more other courses like Reiki for protection, a small course about protection and maybe emotional healing. So for now, I just have the level 1 and 2 and the symbols course. They are complete, they are available, and I'm working on the rest.
Excellent. Well, Vlad, thanks for sharing the information and your expertise. I appreciate both.
It's my pleasure, and it was really an honor to be here with you. And also thank you for sharing your interesting ways of perceiving and practicing Reiki, because I think, again, Reiki works.
Reiki works.
Everybody should know that, regardless of the way you practice it, or your approach, or the way school you have been through attuned, Reiki works.
It certainly does. Now, I'd like to also point out to our viewers and listeners, all the links we've been talking about today will be in the description for our viewers and listeners. And I'd like to, again, thank you very much for a very interesting talk, Vlad.
It's an honor to be here with you, and I hope that we can maybe collaborate in the future, and maybe we can do more interviews. It was really a pleasure meeting you.
But for me too. Well, that's all for today. Please join us for our next Energiebewegung interviews.